welcome back to 11.5. We're going to talk about domain and range today. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to go, so we might do a day 2 of this. So domain and range we've talked about before. However, we're going to start using a different notation, which means how you write it, which might be the hard part. So in case you guys forgot, domain, it's all the possible x values of a function or a graph. Okay, and range is all the possible y values of a function and graph. So pause the video, feel free to write those down if you forgot. We're going to start using interval notation. Okay, and basically it's just going to be sets of parentheses. There's a couple rules. We're going to use the curved parenthesis, typical parenthesis, if a barrier cannot equal a number. That's a rule that you need to remember, so maybe write that down if that helps. And then we use the square bracket if the barrier can equal the number. Okay, and so that's really the only tricky part here. So this is straight off a worksheet just like your homework for today. These functions look kind of goofy. That's okay. We're just trying to figure out the domain and range. Now the domain is all of the possible x values. So if you see all the possible x values, well, they're not arrows. Now remember, arrows signify that the graphs go on and on and on. If you recall, we talked about this. If you have an open dot, that kind of means your function stops. Your graph can't equal that. So you go up to this point, but you don't equal 5 or negative 5. And same with this. You go up to 5, but you don't equal 5. Okay? And so it doesn't keep going on and on and on, otherwise it'd have arrows. But these don't. So your domain, it cannot equal 5 or negative 5. So if you recall back here, use a curved bracket if the barrier cannot equal a number. So we can't equal negative 5. So we're going to use the curved parenthesis. And I'm going to write that barrier number where it kind of stops. Stops at negative 5. And I'm going to write parenthesis. And then where does it end? Well, it goes up to 5. But 5 you also cannot equal. So I'm going to write parenthesis there. So the domain is from negative 5 to 5. And these curved brackets show that you can't equal negative 5 or 5. Okay? Range. Well, let's look. The highest it goes, remember range is y values, is negative 2. And the lowest it goes is negative 4. Okay? And so we typically write from smallest to largest. And so at negative 4, it can't equal negative 4, right? Because we have these dots here. So I'm going to write our curved parenthesis. So I'm going to write negative 4. And then it goes up to negative 2. The highest it goes is negative 2. But look, the value is on negative 2 and there's no open dot, which means it can equal negative 2. So that's when you write your square bracket. Okay? So these curved brackets are typically when you see an open dot, you can't equal that value. The square brackets are when you can equal the value. Okay? So let's do another one. So domain. The smallest it can go is negative 4, but this time it's a closed dot, meaning it does go to negative 4 and it stops there. So it can equal negative 4, so I'm going to use a closed dot or a square bracket. The largest our x values can go is positive 4. But look, it's an open circle, so the graph cannot equal 4, so you have to throw in a curved bracket. And so that's how you do set builder notation. But let's keep going. Range, well, this is boring, goes from negative 4 to negative 2 again. At negative 4, look, it can equal negative 4, but over here it can't. Still, the range, it can equal negative 4, so I'm going to throw in this square bracket negative 4. And then it goes up to negative 2. Now look, it does equal negative 2. It's on there. There's no open dot there. So we're going to have a square bracket there as well. Okay. Hey, this looks like our quadratics. Remember, we spent a lot of time with those. Finally, a change of numbers, though. So again, domain is the x value. So I see it goes from -2 all the way to 2. So -2 to 2. Now we gotta see. Well, at -2, there's this open dot, right? So it can't equal -2. It goes up to -2. And same with 2 over here. It goes up to 2, but there's this open dot here, which means it doesn't get there. It just stops right next to 2. And then range, well, the lowest it goes is -3. The highest it gets is 5. Now we got to determine if it's curved or square bracket. Well, at the bottom, it can equal -3. There's no open dot. The graph hits there, so there's a value there. So it's going to be square bracket. And then the highest point, 5, well, you never reach there. There's this open dot, which means you don't hit it. It doesn't equal it, so you got to throw in the curved bracket. Okay? Now, some of these that they give you aren't necessarily functions. Remember, a function has to pass the vertical line test. You could draw a vertical line that it wouldn't pass that test. But we can still find the domain and range. So domain, all the x values, well, the smallest it can get is 0. The largest it can get is 4. Now, at 0, it cannot equal 0 because there's this open dot, so you got to throw in the curved, the parenthesis. But at 4, it can equal 4, so you throw in the square. Okay, now range. The lowest it goes is -4. The highest it goes is +4. So from -4 to 4 is our range. Now at -4, you see it can equal that. It's a closed dot. So we're going to throw in the square bracket. But at 4, it cannot equal it. So you're going to throw in the curved bracket. Okay. So you basically are just writing the two numbers, the highest and the lowest, the parenthesis in between. And then maybe the hardest part is determining when to use squared and where to use a curved bracket. Hopefully it's not terrible though. So yeah, I think this is our last one. This looks like a line. Now typically you'd have an arrow at the end. I think tomorrow we'll talk about when there's arrows. But, well, they didn't write it. Domain, well, the smallest it gets is -3. The largest it gets is 5, right? That's our largest x value, 5. Well, at -3, it can equal it because it's a closed dot, so we use square bracket. At 5, it can equal that because it's an open circle. Now range. Well, the lowest it goes is -5. The highest it goes is 5. At -5, it cannot equal that. It's an open circle, so you got to have our parenthesis there, our curved bracket. And at 5, our highest y value, it can equal that. Okay? And so that's interval notation. You'll be using that in intermediate algebra, so it's good that we get some practice in there on it. Tomorrow we'll have another lesson over this stuff. But make sure you try this homework. Again, if you have questions, you can ask it on tomorrow's Zoom session. Okay? With that, I'll see you tomorrow.